Happy day everybody, my name is Jeremy and this is Barbecue Elementary. Today we're firing up some golf-inspired party snacks. We've got smoked meatballs, a classic pimento cheese sandwich, and of course the Aelia cocktail. Let's go.
Hey shooter, haven't you forgotten your 9-iron?
I do feel that I should point out that mid-edit I did see Matt from Meat Church drop his own tournament menu with pimento cheese sandwiches, Azalea cocktails, a similar thumbnail, the whole 9 yards.
Happy Gilmore accomplished that feat no more than an hour ago.
And yeah, his sandwich, let's just say he threw in a couple secret ingredients that made mine look like I packed it at 6 a.m. for a field trip. So go check out his video if you haven't for the Barbecue University version. And as for me, on with the show. With a pretty major golf tournament going on this weekend, I figured it was the perfect time to whip up some more party snacks. And for some reason, making smoked golf ball sized meatballs just felt par for the course. Plus, last year I kept hearing the commentators talking about the cheap eats folks were having out there, especially the pimento cheese sandwich, and I thought, yeah, I'll make one of those too. While I've been yapping, I already added a half a cup of breadcrumbs and 1/4 cup of milk to a bowl, just letting that hang out for about 5 minutes so it can soak up and soften before we build the meatballs. Then I added about 2 to 3 minced garlic cloves, a pound of ground pork, and a pound of ground beef. Then I added 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of thyme, 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika, half a teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, a half a cup of Parmesan cheese, and 1 egg into an incredibly small mixing bowl. After mixing all the ingredients as thoroughly as I possibly could, I snagged myself a golf ball so that I could make perfect and consistent meatballs, but spoiler alert.
That's not possible, sir.
Now, I'm not exactly sure how it happened, but the size of these meatballs definitely got a little out of hand. I think I was expecting them to shrink up a little more than they did during the cook, but hey, they all fit on the wire rack, so I'll take the win. I was originally planning to use the Traeger for these, but honestly I got tired of hearing how preschool my last few videos were, so I teed up the kettle instead. Once the charcoal was going, it was time to move on to the pimento cheese. This is supposedly the same recipe that they use in Augusta, so I wanted to follow it to a T. Into the food processor goes 3 cups of white cheddar, 2 cups of sharp cheddar, 1 cup of Parmesan, and 4 ounces of blue cheese crumbles. Then 2 tablespoons of Dijon, and of course a cup of Duke's mayonnaise. And just as long as you don't forget your pimentos like I did at first, you'll be in good shape. You'll want to process or blend the cheese mixture until it's nice and smooth, but still with a little texture. In the future, I'll probably add some, if not all, of the pimentos after blending, just so they don't completely disappear into the mix. Having said that, this way is perfectly fine, and I was really happy with how it turned out. While I was mixing up the pimento cheese, the charcoal had plenty of time to get nice and red hot. I let the grill come up slow and steady, and once it was riding around 250 degrees, it was game time. I had to do a little rearranging so that none of the meatballs were over the direct heat side, but once I had that taken care of, they were ready to take about an hour-long smoke bath. With everything in a holding pattern waiting for the meatballs to cook, it was a good time to make this Aelia, or as I like to call this specific recipe, Easy-Aelia. Because literally all you do is add 5 ounces of your choice of lemonade, 1.5 ounces of vodka, and then add ice to the top of your glass. Then add a little bit of grenadine and give it a good mix. Then find yourself a lemon wheel and a cherry and a golf tee if you're feeling really cute for the garnish. Light, citrusy, and just the right amount of sweet, the Aelia is basically what spring would taste like if it played golf and wore pastel polos. Cheers. Once all of the super heavy lifting was over, I made a really simple glaze with about a half of a cup of this Blues Hog Champions blend barbecue sauce and a tablespoon of peach preserves. And once the meatballs had about 20 minutes more to cook, I just set the glaze inside the grill to let it warm up. I then grabbed the very last 2 pieces of white bread I had left in my house and liberally spread some of the cheese on top. I do plan on using the rest of the pimento cheese on Sunday for the final round, so don't worry, it's going to get used. Once the meatballs had reached the internal temp of about 155 out of 160, I decided it was time to glaze so that the sauce would get tacked up and sticky over the last few minutes of the cook. And voila, just like that, they had reached 160 degrees and the sauce was all tacked up and sticky. Another fairly successful cook. So there you have it, meatballs the approximate size of golf balls. Nothing too fancy, just good flavors and easy prep. All that I really had left to do was figure out how to plate them. Originally I wanted to set one on a tee, but well, just pull it and then put right there and then put it down. Oh, never mind. There it is, a meatball on a tee, looking pretty good and I must say tasting even better. Everything was plated and ready to rock. Overall, this was a really fun cook. The meatballs came out smoky, moist, and had that really satisfying bite, and the glaze, just the right amount of sweet to cut through the smoke and put the whole thing over the top. The blue cheese kick in that rich pimento cheese sandwich was bold but balanced, just enough funk to cut through all the creaminess without overpowering it. It was a total flavor bomb. And last but not least, the citrusy and refreshing Aelia to wrap up the whole spread. This is definitely a trio you should try. And as always, thanks a million for tuning in. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't to follow me along on my adventures through Barbecue Elementary.